In 2004, in Meru County, a 9-year-old boy working as a manual laborer was accused of theft by his employer, an accusation the boy claims was a tactical move to avoid paying his wages. The boy, Patrick Kimathi, was taken to the Tigana law courts. There, at age 9, his fingerprints were taken and entered into the National Criminal Records Register. The state never followed through with a prosecution. Over the following years, the physical court file disappeared, and the police file at Nishru Station was also lost. While the physical documents vanished, the digital record of those fingerprints remained. 2 decades later, that entry was still active in the National Registry, following Patrick into his adulthood. An accusation made against a child, which was never tested or proven in a court of law, became a permanent 20-year shadow on his official identity.
Patrick eventually reached the age of majority and, after securing an education through the help of well-wishers, attempted to enter the formal job market. He found himself effectively barred from employment. His mandatory police clearance certificate flagged an outstanding criminal case from 2004, marking him as a high-risk candidate for any employer. The absurdity of the situation reached a peak in 2022, when the Tigana police station wrote to the Criminal Records Office admitting the fingerprints had been submitted in error. Even with this written admission from the local police, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations refused to delete the record from their database. The administrative system prioritized its own rigid data retention over the documented truth, leaving an innocent citizen in a state of perpetual unemployability. In 2024, Patrick filed a constitutional petition at the High Court, naming the Inspector General and the DCI as respondents. The state's legal defense relied on a lacuna, the claim that because no specific law explicitly outlines how to expunge an erroneous record, they had absolutely no power to act. They cited Section 55 of the National Police Service Act, suggesting records are only removed after a legal appeal quashes a conviction. But because the state never prosecuted Patrick, he had no conviction to quash, leaving him trapped in a legal loop. The state effectively argued that their own failure to bring the case to trial almost 20 years ago was the very thing that made it legally impossible for Patrick to clear his name. Confronted with the DCI's claim of a legislative gap, Judge H.M. Nyaga shifted the court's focus away from administrative procedures and toward the core of criminal law. He looked to Section 14 of the Penal Code, which sets the mandatory threshold for the age of criminal responsibility in Kenya. The law is clear. A person under 8 is never responsible, and a person under 12 is presumed to lack criminal capacity, unless the state proves they understood the wrongfulness of their act. At the time of the alleged theft, Patrick was 9 years old. The state had not only failed to prosecute the case, but they had never even attempted to establish his capacity to be held responsible. The DCI was defending the retention of a criminal record for an individual who, under the Penal Code, was legally presumed incapable of committing the crime in the first place. To resolve the dispute, the judge looked past the missing sections of the Police Act and turned to the Constitution, the supreme law that governs all state action. He invoked Article 53, which mandates that a child's best interests are of paramount importance. This principle, the judge ruled, makes the permanent retention of juvenile records untenable. The court found that this outstanding record violated Patrick's right to dignity under Article 28 and his right to be free from cruel or degrading treatment under Article 29. The judgment established a vital precedent. A gap in a specific statute is not a valid excuse for the state to infringe upon constitutional protections. Rights are not suggestions that wait for administrative permission. The court's role is to enforce those rights precisely when the lower laws are silent. The court ordered the DCI to immediately expunge Patrick's records and awarded him 500,000 shillings in general damages for the violation of his rights. Across Kenya, many adults continue to carry juvenile records that act as silent life sentences, hindering their ability to secure formal work or travel freely. This case confirms that the justice system's goal for children is reformation, not retribution, and that juvenile history cannot be managed with adult administrative rigidity. When bureaucracy creates a trap, the Constitution serves as the ultimate circuit breaker, ensuring that a 20-year-old error cannot continue to dictate a citizen's future.